guys, so last week we made this cute little line. You could use crayons, markers, and we've just made the head of it. Today we're going to finish it by making the body, and I'm going to just use crayons, scissors, and a glue stick to do that. So you also need your paper. That was the other half of this paper last week. So hopefully you saved that and get your supplies and let's get started. Okay, artists, I've got what I need to finish. You can choose, I'll just choose one of these. I think I'll choose the crayon one just to show you how that's going to look. You're going to need a glue stick, some crayons. I'm using red and yellow again, and your paper that's left over. Remember, it should be about the same size as the original lion head. So what we're going to do, I'm going to move this to the side. We'll save that for just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my two crayons, and what I'm going to do is color first with yellow, and if you have an older crayon that you can lay down on its side, that's fine. If you want to put a texture underneath your paper while you're coloring, that'd be really kind of fun. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just color this whole paper yellow. I'll put this on fast forward mode so it doesn't take so long. Okay, so I've got my paper all colored in yellow. I tried not to leave any big open spots. I may even go back over this a little bit more after I do the same thing with my red. Now, if you remember from making our color wheel, yellow and red are primary colors, and when those two colors mix, they make a secondary color. Do you remember what it is? It's going to be orange. Now, I'm not pushing very hard with my red, because I don't want to cover up all of the yellow. If you decide that the yellow is getting covered up too much, you can always go back over the top with your yellow crayon again and make it a little bit more orange. Or if you like this color, just stay with it. Now, if you don't have crayons at home, you could do this with chalk. You could do this with paints. That's really up to you. But I'm just using crayon because most people have some sort of crayons at their house. And I'm almost done. Notice how I'm getting clear up to the corners. You don't want to leave any spot because we're going to use almost every single spot on this paper for our body of our lion. All right, so obviously this is going to be too big of a body for this lion. So what I'm going to do is, now that I have it all colored the way I want, I'm going to fold this paper in half. Okay. And you can use your scissors or the folding technique. But what I'm going to do is split this in half. So we're going to have two halves. Actually, when you think about it, we're using 1/4 of the paper that we originally started with. I'm not going to throw either one away. One of these is going to be the body. I'm just going to kind of put it there. And then I'm going to use the other one to make the legs for my lion. So I am going to fold that in half again. And if you're wondering which way, I am folding it. If my paper was vertical, I'd be folding it horizontal. Some people call that hamburger. I like to call it horizontal fold. Now, before I open this up, I'm going to do the same thing again so that I get a nice skinny or thin rectangle. Now, while that's folded, do you see the fold line there? I'm just going to go ahead and cut right on that way. That way I can cut two at one time. I'm going to try to make 4 legs here. And then I'm going to cut this in half on that fold line. Sometimes it's easier to see on the side that you haven't colored. So I'm going to just turn it over. All right, so now I've got the 4 legs. Here they are. I've got the head and I've got the body. Now, if you wanted to, you could honestly leave those very rectangular and boxy, but I kind of like to round off the corners of my lion here. And so what I'm going to do I'm going to stack all 4 of these papers together, and I am going to just take my scissors and cut off those corners. I like to kind of turn my paper as I'm cutting so it looks nice and rounded. Some people like to go back and add little lines in here for paw print. Maybe I'll do that just to show you. I didn't do it on the other one. I'm using brown. Maybe black would show up better. Let's try black. Oh yeah, black shows up better. So I can do that. I just put 2 lines on each one. 1, 2, or you could do 3 or 4, whatever you think would look good. 1, 2, but since I did 2, I'll stay doing 2 on all of them. Okay, so now I think I'll do a little bit of curving on the body as well. I'm going to keep everything else. All right, you can see how this is going to kind of work out. I'm going to save these now. Before I start gluing anything together, I am going to take the lion head and I'm going to cut on the zigzag. Now, if you remember from last week, I told you I would tell you a little trick on how to cut these sharp zigzag lines. And here is my trick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my scissors. Remember, the thumb is in the small hole and your other fingers are in the oval hole. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down just that little bit of the zigzag, and then I turn my paper before I cut any more. At first, when you're learning how to cut zigzags, you might need to kind of go slow. Now, if you're finding it's too hard to cut zigzags, you can just cut it off in a straight line, but make sure you're not leaving any white spots. So I'm just going to kind of move my scissors back and forth, kind of diagonal. And yeah, it takes a couple of minutes, but I think in the end, it's okay. It's all right if I end up cutting a little bit more of my orange off that I made last time. Okay, when I get this all cut out, I will show you the next step. Okay, I've got that lion all cut out. Oh, he's looking really cute. All right, so I can start to imagine where I want to put my legs. Oh, but you know what's missing? The tail. So what I'm going to do, I have just a little bit left over. Remember I told you to save this paper? So before I glue that line, I'm going to tear off this just so it's not so hard to manage. I'm going to take my yellow and my red crayon again. I'm going to color this part in. Luckily, it's a nice small area. It shouldn't take you very long. Overlap it with the red. We want it to match everything else. And what I'm going to do, of course, I got to cut off that zigzag part. So I'm just going to cut straight down. I'm going to round off this end so it looks nice. Oh, and there we go. Now, I think I have all the pieces for my lion. So you can have a little fun arranging the legs how you want them to be. Maybe you want them going out. Maybe you want all of them straight down. It's up to you. You can have the tail going different directions as well. Maybe you want one sticking straight up. Once you decide, maybe you want the head tilted. Once you decide how your lion is going to be, what you're going to do is take your glue stick, okay? And I like to usually do the head first. I'm going to carefully pick up the head, just kind of bend it back and see where the rest of the objects are, because I only can glue where my head was touching there. So I'm going to move that back into place. Make sure I rub really well. I think I'm going to do these legs next. I'm going to just lift this up. Put a little glue under there. Same here. A little glue right there. Oh, he's so cute. I just love my little lion. And don't forget to do the tail. Now, once you get glue on everything, you might want to pick it up and see how it's holding together. If you need to add more glue or rub any more, you can. But don't forget to write your name on the back, because these are too stinking cute and you don't want anybody to actually accidentally take your lovely little lion. So I hope you've had fun making this one with me today. I certainly did. I want to see a picture of it when you're done. So if you're at home, send it to me on Seesaw. And then if you're at school, we're going to put a picture of it on Artsonia, and we're going to put that in the lion folder. All right, so I hope you have fun, and remember, stay creative. Goodbye.